So what's going on these days?
Well, I'm going into my 5th year.
Right.
Okay, it's my 5th year running the agency. And man, I'm learning so much. I'm learning a lot along the way of, how to properly build a team. And that's probably been one of the larger challenges. When you think about, when your mind is set towards identifying and solving problems, you'll never be short on clients.
Right.
That's not the issue. The issue is the challenge is finding the right people to come alongside you and be a part of the solution.
Yeah, that is true.
That is the challenge.
That makes sense.
So that's kind of where I've been, at this year was a learning journey.
Okay.
And, some project managers that I brought in, just didn't pan out. Some were dishonest, which was...
That's tough.
Tough.
That's really tough.
Tough when that happens. And so you invest a couple months and then reset, and then you invest a couple months and then reset. And, a couple times it's, things happen that you don't maybe predict or can control, right?
Right.
The second project manager I brought in, sadly, got hit by a motorcycle.
What?
Yes.
Oh.
And she was a rock star, man. She came in, so much experience, and was just crushing it. And then that happened. Thankfully, she's okay, but
yeah,
it set us back.
That's tough.
Yeah, it's tough. But that, micro level, right?
Yeah.
But macro, that's the story of my life and probably the majority of business owners and entrepreneurs out there.
Yeah.
Like, stuff happens. What do you do about it?
Yeah. So tell us about Stormbreaker. I mean, what's the story there, right? Yeah. What is it, right? And then how'd you get here?
Yeah, so Stormbreaker is we're a B2B marketing agency. I would say our area of expertise is outbound marketing. Okay. It kind of took us some time to kind of identify, where do we fit in the ocean of digital marketing, and even marketing as a whole. So that's who we are. We're an outbound marketing agency. The acronym that I like to kind of inject into engagements, especially on the front end, is BCT, which stands for Brand, Content, and Traffic.
Okay.
I was known as in 2019, 20, I was the LinkedIn guy.
Okay.
Okay. And now that can kind of come with maybe a bad connotation.
Right. Yes.
Depending on, what you're bringing into that kind of conversation. Oh, you spam people. No, I don't. Just want to make that clear,
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. If you do it right, it's amazing.
Yes.
But it's all the folks, it's the bad actors that are out there.
It's the bad actors.
Right.
Yeah. And I want to come back to that. But so how BCT kind of came to be and just developed, it was what are the commonalities between, clients and engagements and campaigns and projects that are successful and the ones that are not, right? What is it? And, there are a number of different things you can kind of put your finger on, but for the most part, generally speaking, the ones that have a good brand, a solid brand, they know who they are and who they're not.
Yeah. That's a critical point, by the way.
Yes.
Knowing who you're not
yes.
is something that gets glossed over so much.
Mm-hmm.
Right? People are like, oh, this is what we are. But having the clarity to also know what you're not.
Correct.
It creates clarity of vision and purpose.
Yep.
And it allows you to know who a good client is or a good customer is.
Yes.
And who's not. And it doesn't mean that other entity is bad. It just means that they're not a good fit.
That's correct.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Which is good. It's good to identify because then you're not wasting your time and their time.
Right.
Right. Or a user, if you're like a B2B SaaS that jumps on board, or a product, company, a CPG, and you're not clearly communicating who you are and are not, then it leads to a bad experience.
Right.
You know what I mean? So brand is critically important, and then also content, right? You could have a really polished brand, and there's a lot you can kind of unpack between, can you have a brand without content? Mm-hmm. Maybe, to a certain extent. In a lot of ways, it's tough. Your content further defines and clarifies your brand. So if you're creating good content that speaks value, is entertaining, the banana guy.
Right, yes.
is entertaining, is insightful and helpful and inspirational. Those things combined with now our superpower, which is outbound, you put that into outbound and magic happens. That's when it's really fun. So it's been a journey to get there and understand all of that in the midst of AI revolution,
Yeah.
AI, automation, and just everything that is just so rapidly developing and evolving in our space. But we've come up with a formula that wins if you know how to do it.
Well, yeah, and the power in BCT, right, is it's simple and it's easy to understand.
Yeah.
The reality of it is there's a tremendous amount of complexity in there that you're embracing on behalf of your clients to make that magic happen, right?
Yes.
And that's something that, at least what I've realized as I go through business and I talk to different business owners and whatnot, is there's the most successful businesses take their customers' complexity, they embrace that, they take it on, they make life easier and more simple for their customers.
Right.
And then their customers can go, they can look at it and say, oh, it's BCT. This is great.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? Without realizing that hamster's on a wheel, on 4 wheels in the background, just flying around.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. The simpler, you can make things in general, like the better it is.
Right.
And, simple analogy, my wife, we just kind of laugh about this all the time. We'll be like driving through town and, sometimes you drive past a little, store shop and it says, we laugh about this, donuts. And that's the brand. Donuts. You made it very simple. I have no clue. I have no doubt about what it is that you're offering.
That's right.
Right? Donuts. Now,
yes.
Further question the quality of those, donuts. Are they gluten-free? Are they not? Right?
Yes.
But it's just like donuts.
You know what you're going to get.
You know what you're getting
every time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's fun. Anyways, that's kind of where we're at, but.
Yeah. So if you think back on 2023, right? Because the year's wrapping up. What was like one thing that really stood out? And you're like, man, that was an amazing magic moment. Or if I could replicate it, I want to do it again going forward.
Yeah, great question. I've had a few magic moments for me, personally, and then also in the development of my own brand and businesses and projects that I'm building. Especially magical, I would say, and there's a little bit of a backstory, but so we ended up, my wife and I, Nadia, we ended up going to Dublin in October.
Yeah.
And it might not seem, big to some people, but, maybe when I tell the story, it kind of becomes a little bit more meaningful. But I was able to MC a SaaS conference in Dublin, and it's called SaaS Talk. And they had probably around, say 5,000, I think, people there, 5 to 6. And Dublin's a cool city. And I was able to be on the main stage a couple days, which is just fun. It's fun. I love doing that. It doesn't feel like work. And it gives me an ability to meet interesting people who are speakers on stage and stuff, which is, they're always, interesting. But what was really cool was it brought one part of a journey that my wife and I have been on for the past now going on 2 years, this being the completion of the second year, but it kind of brought it full circle. So last summer, 2022, we met in April, and we very quickly realized, we were just kindred spirits and we wanted to get married. And so me, being the spontaneous and always wanting to go on an adventure, asked the question, well, for our proposal, why don't we just, can we travel somewhere and maybe shoot content and maybe create a documentary around this?
Around your proposal?
Yeah, around that. And then I'm like, well, if I do that, can I just classify it as, a business expense and leverage it to meet interesting people?
Right.
And my mind just automatically goes there. Usually, kind of get lost in maybe the bigger picture of some things and try to make, maybe simple decisions more complex. But just from my desire to want to meet people and just create memories. And so she's like, sure, where do you want to go? And I'm like, well, Paris. Why don't we do Paris? She's always wanted to go to Paris. And so to make a long story short, we came up with this concept called Love and Startups, which was like couples and entrepreneurs.
Okay.
And people that are building businesses and, investors and all that stuff. And it's like the adventurous side of us, the proposal, getting married, and then the honeymoon. We're shooting all this stuff with a full video team. And so we ended up going to 5 countries the first trip last summer, 2022. One of those being Israel. So we stopped in Tel Aviv and we shot some content in Tel Aviv and met some amazing people and just had a wonderful time. And then routed through Paris and filmed a bunch of content. Came back home, we're like, that was fun. Can we do that again? And so then we filmed the wedding in October here in Texas. And then now getting to the part of the story is October when I was looking for the honeymoon. And I told this from the stage. I said, again, like same question, like, can I kind of make the most of like a honeymoon and make it something more than just like a relaxing vacation of us just enjoying, each other's company. And so I Googled, and this is a warning, be careful what you Google, right? Because it Pandora's box, yeah. Like it could open up like some really interesting stuff. So I Googled SaaS conferences in Europe. And I started doing some research and I found this one in Dublin.
Okay.
And it happened to be 2 days after our wedding. And I was like, this is too perfect.
Yeah.
And so I asked her, was like, babe, can we go to Dublin? There's a SaaS conference there. It'd help me kind of network and build some relationships. And I promise it'll be fun. And she's like, well, yeah, sure. She's always so willing to jump out of the plane with me. And so we did that. And then we packaged Greece, a Greece trip on the back end. So
okay, I was going to say, surely you didn't just have a honeymoon around a SaaS conference.
No.
That's just...
No, it was not just around a SaaS.
Yeah,
no, exactly.
sounds...
Yeah, I wouldn't be here, still wearing this if it was. Like, I don't think I'm going to go through with this. She thinking of me. But anyway, so we just like landed in Dublin, hired a video team off of Instagram, which I've done many times over. And we just filmed the conference and interviewed, people just like what you're doing right now to me.
Right.
And so we built the relationships. I met the founder. We got to know each other. And he then invited me. We just became instant friends. And he invited me to MC it in Austin. And then after that went really well, that was their first one here in the US. Then he said, hey, why don't you come back to Dublin and actually do it for real this time and do the main stage? And so we celebrated not only our honeymoon, but then our anniversary in front of all of these people that have become such good friends over the, the past year. And I was able to say from the stage, like, hey, there's my wife. It's our anniversary. Wish us an anniversary. So it was special. Like, it was just really special. And of course, a lot of, good things happened from that, partners and clients and content and memories between her and I. And it was, so that was a magic moment for us this year.
That's
very
amazing.
surreal, bringing it full circle.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So are you planning on going back next year?
Yeah, they've invited us back. Yeah, we'll be back next year. We'll be in Austin. I think it's in May again for the second one here in the U.S. and then back in Dublin again in the fall.
So if folks are interested in going to one of those, like what could they expect at SaaS Talk, right? Because there's different conferences around SaaS and everything's different. So what could you expect? So
they position themselves, because you've got SaaStr and you've got a bunch of other conferences. They really cater towards SaaS founders that are building on their way to 10 million in ARR.
Okay.
So if you're, bootstrapping or early stage or, a million to 10, each one has its own unique challenges and hurdles. And so they help founders through not just the conference, but community support content and a bunch of other stuff to help them get to that 10 million in ARR.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's cool.
So it's been fun.
All right. So
very fun.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but in addition to Stormbreaker, right, the entrepreneur and you've got a few other things that are going as well, right? And are you playing in the SaaS space?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So what have you got going?
Yeah. So my wife and I next year, 2024, we're going to wrap up the video project, and then probably spin that into a book and some other stuff. But then outside of I've been working with SaaS companies for the past couple of years, and I've found a few marketers kind of feel, agency owners specifically feel this way of, eventually after working to grow other people's companies, it's like, wait, can I just build something my own and use my skills and team to build something that I own?
Right.
And so I've kind of just been waiting for the right problem to present itself that I believe I can solve with software. So there's two in particular that I'm solving, and
you can't talk about it.
I can tease out the second one.
Okay. All right.
The first one, yes, it's called LeadStorm.ai, and that is it's essentially like a marketing and sales automation platform that has I've plugged in an AI ad builder and an AI platform to perform email and LinkedIn campaigns. Okay. So, and this is where everything's going, right? Everything's going towards the AI route. But the problem that I wanted to solve was I felt like there were certain limitations within a CRM as it relates to outbound.
Right.
Don't do cold email campaigns from HubSpot.
Right.
Kind of a no-brainer, but you'd be amazed how many people do that.
Oh, all the time.
All the time. Don't use SharpSpring or whatever. Don't do it. There are specific tools that are dedicated for that. And so instead of using separate platforms and, the data kind of not speaking to itself and context not being, easily transferable between the two. It's kind of messy. I just rolled it all up into one.
Okay.
And so now you have a database of like 700 million contacts within there. You can enrich the contact data. You can build out a LinkedIn or email campaign. You can personalize that with even video personalization, one-to-one, like, hey, I was just looking through your profile, right? And then the background is on the video in the inbox. Oh, wow. So there's a lot of AI and personalization. So you've got the best of a CRM, you've got the best of an outbound platform, and then you've got an AI ad builder, which again, traditionally speaking, some hurdles, right, to building out your own ad campaigns.
Yeah.
Right? But now we've got AI, and you can just kind of walk through the process and build out ads on display, Google, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, whatever, all within one. So that's LeadStorm.
That's awesome. So question for you, who is your ICP in that situation? Is that the end client? Is that partner agencies, or are you agnostic?
So more geared towards consultants and coaches.
Yeah.
Yep. Consultants, coaches, and other agency owners, or I think SaaS companies that are smaller. Usually, when they get larger and there's bigger data, then you probably need to move to a platform that can handle some larger data. But if you're bootstrapping, building, you're a consultant, coach, and you're traditionally B2B, then it's a perfect platform.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's it.
Yeah. No, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
The other one I'll tease out. Okay. So for years, I've been trying to figure out a way to efficiently leverage Facebook groups. Okay. Facebook groups are a gold mine. There's 1 billion of them for every interest you could ever think of, right? I was chatting with a client yesterday, and he's building a thing towards 6-pack over 60. So 60 and older individuals that care about health and fitness.
Right.
Search it on Facebook. There's thousands of groups. Fitness over 60 this. It's wild. And so all these Facebook groups, it does present an opportunity based on, the solutions that you have. Jump in there. People are going to ask a question. It's a safe space. Groups, right? People feel more prone to throw a question in a group that they wouldn't post online.
Right.
Right? Because it could be embarrassing.
Yes.
Right? These people understand me, so I can ask a question. So if you join those groups, sometimes somebody will ask a question, and it's a good lead for you, right?
Right.
But who has time to efficiently monitor all these posts in all these groups and respond to the opportunities? Nobody does.
Right.
Right? Unless you hire a VA, but then that's not scalable, and it's not you. So we're building a platform that'll help us monitor communities based on keywords and phrases.
Okay.
Not just in Facebook, but different platforms as well.
Yeah. That's a game changer.
So it's like intent data or like inbound on Google, because people are asking the question.
That's so much better than just normal intent.
It's a warm lead. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not just intent, like it's actual, like they want it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they need it. Yeah. So we're building that. It's in beta, and we'll launch it here in a little bit.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. All right. So I've got to ask, right? You started Stormbreaker 5 years ago?
2020.
2020. All right. So 3 years ago. Okay. Yep. You've been going like gangbusters. One of the questions I always like to ask is, okay, it's not always sunshine and roses, right? And rainbows and pots of gold, right? There's times things just go to hell in a handbasket, right? Or something goes sideways. What was that first moment for you as you think back, right? And you're like, oh crud, this went wrong. Right? Yeah. That if you could go back and you could fix it. Now, what would be one of those moments?
Yeah. Well, every time I get an opportunity to kind of, to speak like this, I'm very intentional about sharing a part of my journey that was one of the most defining and impactful moments of my life. And that was what feels like a lifetime ago, back in 2012. 2010 to 16, I was building my nonprofit, and it was an international nonprofit that was focused in Cuba, Dominican, and India. India wasn't part of the picture yet, though. But if you're building something, I think you'll be able to relate to this, because we all do face moments where we get sideswiped or derailed, or the unexpected happens.
Yeah.
And so for me, in 2010, I had packed up everything and was traveling the country, was speaking all over the place, and was just raising funds for my nonprofit.
Yeah. What was the nonprofit again?
It was called Rooftop Missions.
Okay, and what did it do?
Yeah, we essentially like empowered and enabled local partners and communities, usually in partnership with churches, to just better reach their local community and serve them. That was our focus. I wanted to just equip and empower leaders to make a bigger difference in their communities.
How'd you get the name Rooftop?
It comes from the Bible, Mark chapter 2.
Yeah, so go ahead.
Yep. So there's a story in Mark chapter 2 of these 4 guys who they're friends. These 4 friends find this one guy who he has a physical ailment and he's unable to walk.
Right.
And so Jesus is appearing in their town, and because he can't walk, he's dependent on other people to take him there. And so these 4 friends, they come alongside him and they each pick up a corner and they take him there to where Jesus is speaking in this house. Rooftop, the house was so packed with all these people, they couldn't go in through the door. They had to find a creative way to bring this dear friend of theirs that needed help to the feet of Jesus. And the way they did that was through the roof.
Okay.
So Rooftop Missions.
Yes.
And so it was creative access into countries and places that are difficult to reach.
Okay.
And my ministry was really dependent on the strength of the ministry was directly related to the strength of our partners.
Okay.
And I've met and heard incredible stories of people that were just brave enough to overcome any obstacle, even being threatened with their life. So it was very mission focused. I loved what I did.
Yeah.
And I felt so much identity, which is a bigger picture conversation in my work, which us men usually do.
Yeah.
And so in 2012, when I was raising funds for that ministry, I was traveling from North Carolina to Ohio, and my van, I'm from Canada, I'm used to the snow. This was in February, there was snowfall, so I didn't really think much of it. But my van, as I drove over a bridge, hit some black ice and spun out. And the van came to a halt. I had my wife at the time and 2 kids in the back seat, 18-month-old Maddie and 3-year-old Aslan. She was born in 2008. They were in the back seat. And so the van spun off and hit an interstate pole right on Aslan's door, and she passed away. And I remember jumping out of the van and just screaming and begging God not to take my daughter. I didn't really know what to do, but I should I touch her? Should I not? I don't really know. Panic in that moment. I remember picking her up and watching her body just kind of heave, and I thought she was still breathing, but it was actually her last breath.
Oh.
So that sent me and everything kind of into a tailspin, both good and bad, because if we pay attention, obstacles present opportunities.
Yeah.
And what happened was local news caught it. It kind of went around. I tweeted, it kind of got retweeted. So a lot of people were hearing about what happened. The local community just wrapped their arms around us. And so we were hitting news and it was kind of going mini viral. And so they broadcasted they asked me if they could live stream the funeral service. And I said, yeah, absolutely, I would love that, which is not something they normally do.
Right.
But to bring it full circle, what ended up happening was the people that I met, one of the guys from that accident in North Carolina, he had this organization in India that was helping people, invited me on a trip. I went. I had no plans of going to India, but through that met people and I went, which I will say, a very good statement that my pastor said once that I think is very powerful. He says, your destiny is defined by your relationships. And it's an interesting connection between who's in your life to where you go and what you accomplish with your life.
Yeah.
And so
there's a lot of power in that. And, throughout the Bible, we're told, and just throughout even secular wisdom, right, is pick your friends wisely, right, because they're going to decide your future, right? If you're the average of your 5 closest friends,
for sure,
right?
Yep.
And
that's right.
It's where you spend your time and who you spend your time with. That's who you're going to become like.
That's right. Yes.
It was
Yeah.
some really good advice was given to, so we've got older kids when they were trying to pick a college. Somebody said, go where there are people that you want to look like and that you want to be like.
Yes, exactly.
Because you will become like those people.
That's right.
And
That's right. Yes.
That is so true. So your world just got wrecked, literally, right?
Yes.
I can't fathom losing a child.
Yeah.
So sorry.
Yeah.
And then you ended up being able to go into India.
Yeah.
With Rooftop.
Yeah. So went into India and eventually merged with his organization. So we were able to support hundreds of thousands of people through our efforts now, which was very special. But the gentleman that I met on that trip, who was in charge of just kind of our schedule and itinerary and driving us around, his name was Danny. And all week he'd been bugging me to come out and check out a building or a little project that he was working on. And so Friday was, I think it was a Friday, it was the last day of the trip. I had a little bit of time and said, okay, fine, let's go. And so I hopped on his scooter. He drove me down the road, maybe a mile or two. And we came to this building that was under construction. And as he told me, it was a children's home. And his passion and burden was to help
Is that an orphanage?
care for, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Orphanage children's home to care for the 35 million orphans that are in India.
Oh my
and there's so many. It's like the population of Canada and orphans in India. It's wild. And so I thought, man, how special. And so I remember, just praying for him and his family and the project. We left friends, stayed in contact. And about 8 months later, he reached out and he said, brother, that's what he called me, brother, would you mind if I named this orphanage after your daughter? And can we do it together? And I thought, how unbelievably special. Yeah. So the Aslan Noel Children's Home was born in India. And speed it up now, that was 2012, 13, 14, 15, just working and traveling and helping and fundraising and speaking and doing all of that. 2015 of December, which is my birthday month, and Aslan's birthday month. She was born on the 15th, 2 days from now, from the day of this recording. We held an event called Christmas at the Orphanage, which still goes on every year. Andrew Smith, shout out to Andrew Smith. I ended up passing it off to him in 2016, but it's still going on, and it is bigger and better than ever. It's amazing what they're doing now. But in 2015, I got to meet personally these two girls that we took in, and they were both born with HIV. Okay. And society did not value them as much as you and I would. Right. And so they went to a number of different children's homes and were rejected, and we took them in. And so I got to hear their stories in person through translator for really the first time. And it was very special. We were leaving the next morning, and we kind of said our goodbyes, and I gave her my card. Mary Shanti is one of the girls' names. I gave her my card, and she said, like she's motioning, broken English, like, I'll call you. I'm like, yeah, you call me, my number, we'll chat, whatever. And on my flight home in JFK, I had a layover and I stopped and video called Danny, and he said, brother, Shanti has a question that she wants to ask you. And so I'll never forget, I remember exactly where I am. And I said, sure, what's the question? And so she whispers it to him, and he says, she wants to know if she can call you daddy.
Oh my word. Wow.
And in that moment, I realized what God was trying to do. One seed in the life of my daughter was planted in the ground, and it yielded a harvest of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of kids. Wow. And now 11 years later, she would be 16 this year. Well, she is in heaven, but 11 years later, we've helped, probably a couple thousand kids and rewrite their stories. And I couldn't be daddy to her in the sense that I wish I could have. Right? Due to a lot of different difficult circumstances. But the decision that I made to not quit and keep going was worth it. And I can only think of how many people there are in this country, in the world, who when they run up against a brick wall And it's hard. It may be because of decisions they made in their own doing, or it may not. There are things that, happen to us. I believe all things happen for us.
Yeah.
And I believe our setbacks can be setups for success. But how many people there are that they stopped and they missed out.
Yeah.
And they missed out on some of the biggest things that they would have accomplished in their lives. One of the things that kept me going for so long, as difficult as bearing a child and then moving back to the States and my wife leaving and being a full-time single dad to my kids, losing my ministry and my organization, losing the respect of so many friends, and going through a complete reset in 2016. What kept me going through all of that was this thought: I wonder what the bigger picture really is.
Yeah.
What's the purpose? And sometimes the only way to find out what the purpose is and to come to the end and discover is to wait. And we don't like waiting. I hate waiting.
Yes.
We live in an instant society. I want it now. Marketing. I want results now. Why aren't people booking meetings? Why aren't this? I want it now. Grow my company now. Push a button. I want to,
Yeah.
We live in an instant society. We want everything now. Some things will only understand when we wait and just be patient to see what's happening on the outside, because there's a lot that goes on around us that we're not even aware of. On the outside, things are happening that we don't even see. And on the inside, things are happening that we don't even see. And now looking back, I can see, wow, look at the development and growth that was happening inside of Matt when he was alone and it was hard and he didn't have answers and he was frustrated. Was in the gym, working out. And you don't go to the gym and think next week I'm gonna have 6-pack abs. You go to the gym every day and you work out because you know if I do this long enough, consistently enough, I'm gonna get in shape. My health is gonna be strong. And so same thing building a business, right? I'm gonna go back there since this is like a business podcast, right?
No, you're good.
You know what I mean?
It's great.
Yeah, or even for founders, like, man, you just get in the gym every day, the gym of life, and you just keep putting in the work.
It's the grind.
It's the grind. And that doesn't mean you should be running around like crazy, burning yourself and your family out. There's a way to do it right. There are seasons where it's hard and you're working long hours and long days and it's really, really hard. And in those seasons, you pray for yourself and the people around you for grace. Guys, give me grace because I'm in a season. It's not going to be my life forever. It shouldn't be. I'm in a season. And then you've got other seasons where, we're here at Market Scale. We're talking to the founder. He's in a different season. I'm not saying this is harder or that's harder. They're different. And the workload is different and the responsibilities are different. But usually we're here looking at this and like, oh man, I wish I was just there right now.
Dude.
You're not ready for that yet.
No.
You got to be here to build the muscle to support an organization that has 500 employees around the world.
Yeah.
Like Market Scale. You got to keep working out. And so I'm grateful, man. My heart is truly grateful that I was able to persevere, help kids, help families, and now gloriously remarried to an incredible girl, Nadia, we're just like, peas in a pod, and we just have so much fun. I would have missed out on so much if I just got bitter and quit.
Yeah, that's amazing. That is amazing. And I love that, right? Because the reality of it is there's an element to this in just the grit and the grind.
Yeah.
Right. And there's so many folks that there's books that are published on it, which is, what's the intangible? Well, it's grit. Right.
Yeah.
I think there's a book called that.
Yeah. Yep, there is.
And a guy by the name of Joshua Metcalf talks about practicing active patience, right? That people think that they're going to rise to the occasion under the bright lights, but the bright lights, all they do is they reveal the work that you did in the darkness, right?
That's it.
And it's the notion of, can you, Inky Johnson says, can you fall in love with the process and surrender the outcome, right?
Yeah.
Which, easy to say, so hard to do.
So hard to do.
Right? And that's the thing that when I think about that, and I think about just what God's doing and working in our lives, and this is to your point, is a business podcast, but faith is a huge part of my life.
Yes.
And
Yep.
when I think about that, and it's just, we're never, it's funny. I was talking to somebody today, and they were going through something, and somebody was saying, well, they just, somebody in their life just wants to be happy. And it was like, that is the worst advice you can ever give anybody.
Totally.
Right? Happiness is an emotion.
Yes.
Try and tell a 2-year-old, hey, I just want you to be happy. You can't keep a 2-year-old
Okay, give me sugar.
Yeah. Right? You're gonna destroy the kid, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So pursuing happiness for the sake of happiness is really tough.
Yep.
And it typically doesn't yield happiness. But if you pursue righteousness, right?
Yes.
And if we embrace suffering with gratitude, as hard as that may sound,
Yeah.
it's amazing what flourishes on the other side.
Yes. Yes, I agree.
It's so, and to your point, you build these muscles,
Yes.
right, that prepare you for the next thing.
Yes. That's it.
And I was reading, I don't know, was it probably 20 years ago now? Back then, people would have to reinvent themselves every 4 to 5 years. Right? Is that every 3 years now that you probably have to reinvent yourself?
Yeah.
If that.
Wow.
And if we think about our careers, and you've gone through 2 hard pivots in your career.
Yeah. Yep. At least.
Yeah, and it sounds like you're working on your 3rd.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You're going from being
Yes.
in the ministry to starting a ministry founder, to pivoting into marketing agency, to now pivoting to a SaaS founder, right?
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, that's 3 pivots there. You're working on your 3rd or your 4th. You're starting your 4th career.
Oh yeah,
already?
Yes, I mean even like 2016 to 19, I cleaned pools. I was a pool cleaner. I was a real estate agent. I was flipping houses.
You were figuring life out.
I was figuring life out.
Yeah.
Like everywhere you go, it's like pivot, 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 pivot.
Yeah.
And it is an essential skill. It's an essential skill. And it's interesting to hear you talk about needing to redefine yourself every 3 to 5 years. Because most people don't figure that out.
Right.
There are, I don't know, that's a generalization, but there are a lot of people that don't. And they kind of get stuck in a version of themselves that they've always been and now always will be.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's the way God intends for us to be. And I don't think that's the best way to particularly live life. Evolving, as we would say, or redefining, and we're not talking so much about identity. My identity is rooted in my faith and in God. That's for me. I need something that I can anchor myself to. That's not going to change. That's where my identity is.
Right.
I'm a child of God first, and then I'm a husband, and then I'm a father. Right. I'm all these things. But as far as like what I do with my talents and skills in the marketplace or in the business arena, that's kind of fluid, right? And I'm always seeking to further develop and hone those in.
Right.
But that's hard, and that takes testing. So, my own, personal journey along the road of, agency owner and building SaaS, and I think it just comes from a desire to discover what is Matt's true potential.
Right.
What am I really capable of? We'll find out.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's Mario Andretti said, if everything's under control, you're not going fast enough.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And you don't know the edge until you've crossed it.
Oh, that's a good quote.
Right.
Like
so you've got to be able to push it to the edge, and sometimes you got to push it beyond the edge, and then all right, that's the edge, and do it in a way that is non-destructive or non. It's empowering, not embittering. Right?
Yeah.
Exactly. And so it was funny because when I was in the corporate world, I typically with my teams would say, hey, look, because you'd have to rate people according to their annual performance, right, towards their goals and things like that.
Yep.
And I had an unwritten rule and a very clear conversation with them, which was, if you didn't fail at something for the right reasons, because you stretched, right, you tried something. If you didn't fail, it's impossible to get the best score if you didn't stretch to the point that you couldn't make it.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
So you have to set a goal that you can't make it to.
Yes.
And it's funny because there's a lot of companies out there, the way their systems are set up, they don't actually allow that. They'll actually ding you for not hitting all your goals.
They want to play it safe.
Right? Yeah. They're like, oh, top performers deliver on everything that they said. And I believe that, right? Your say-do ratio's got to be through the roof.
Yes.
But it's the notion of transparency in that, which is, hey, look, I'm setting the stretch goal. I don't know how to get there.
Yeah.
We're going to try and figure it out.
Yeah.
If I'm transparent in that as we go through that and we come up short, that's okay.
Yes.
Versus I'm telling you I'm going to be here and deliver on this promise day in and day out, and I don't. That's unacceptable.
Yeah, that's correct.
Right?
That's
Two
correct.
totally different things.
Yes, exactly. Very different. Yeah.
There's a failure that I encourage because we're trying to do new things.
Yes.
Right? And find the edge. And when you're finding the edge, failure's almost expected.
Yeah.
Right?
It should be. That's right. Yeah, absolutely.
And if you don't, you kind of almost have this like surreal moment of, wait, did we just go past that line? Yeah, and we're still here?
Yeah.
Oh, this is great.
Yeah.
We went off the map.
Yeah, we're alive.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That's fantastic. All right. So
Yeah.
Looking into 2024, if you could reflect back on a lesson learned from 2023, and what's a lesson you learned in 2023 that you're going to apply in 2024?
Oh yeah, simple. There's a big one, and it's kind of funny that I'm admitting this because I would consider myself pretty good at asking good questions, but there were some engagements and partnerships that I kind of jumped into, and I didn't ask the right questions, and going back to that, stretching yourself and going into uncharted territory. For me, there were some things that I did that were it was uncharted territory. And it cost me. It cost me. It was the wrong decision, and but now I've learned. So going into 2024, and a lot of that is around building a team.
Right.
I now know better questions and how to better maneuver that process of finding and committing to the right talent that I need. So that was one lesson. Yeah, we live in such a competitive talent market right now. Everybody's just clawing for the best talent. And gone are the days where people work at the same company for much more than 2 years, really.
Yeah.
So that makes it hard in some ways for smaller companies to overcome milestones, right? Yeah. Rather than bigger companies, different challenges. But for me at the stage where I've been at, that's been a challenge. And I've got some plans in the works as far as how I'm going to overcome those challenges in 2024. So that was my lesson. Yeah. Ask better questions when, or go to somebody else who has the experience hiring or partnering up with somebody like that and ask, well, what did you do? Yeah. Or what did you ask?
Yeah, it's funny. This over the course of this past year, one of the things that we've gotten really good at is identifying our ICP, right? Or our ideal customer profile.
Yeah.
And for us, it really became very simple. There's 3 things. They've got to be B2B, right? That's easy. The second one is they've got to have budget, right?
Yes.
Okay. If you can't afford it, then it's a waste of everybody's time. But the third one for us is there's got to be strong value alignment. We have 4 core values in the way we operate and what we do and the way we practice business. And if those 4 things don't truly align in the way we work, chances are we're not going to be a good fit.
Yeah.
Now, what's interesting is whenever we've had those conversations with people, I'm yet to have had a prospect or prospective customer say, "Oh yeah, no, that's a problem for us," right? Because on the surface, they're there, right? It's what we call our 4 T's. It's trust, truth, transparency, and teamwork, right? Okay, well, that's easy. Well, we're going to trust each other. We're going to tell the truth. We're going to be transparent. But the reality is when you come to actually start engaging on a project, you find out real quick whether those things are there. And and for us, what we look for is we want long-term partner relationships.
Yes.
And it's the same thing with our team members. We look for those 4 things, and they just got to buy into those 4 things, like all in.
Yeah.
And fortunately, we've been very blessed, and we don't have turnover from that standpoint. But we spend an inordinate amount of time because of exactly. I've had the chance to have learned those lessons a long time ago, right? That you were just experiencing, and like no. We hire slow. We hire real slow, and we make sure that it's a good fit.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's
fantastic.
Good. That's great. Yeah.
Awesome.
I love it, man.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
I appreciate it.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited for our relationship and things that we get to build together, and for you going into 2024 as well, man.
Absolutely. So if folks want to get in touch with you, they want to get in touch with Stormbreaker, how can they do it?
Yeah, best place to get a hold of me would be on LinkedIn. That's where I hang out most, all day, every day. So just Matt Cretzman on LinkedIn. Hit me up there. My team will see it if I don't, and we'd love to chat.
Perfect. Awesome.
Thanks. Thank you.